He was terrified of speaking, and nobody knew how much it was costing him. Every opportunity knocked. Fear answered first. At 19 years old, Ethan had become an expert at disappearing. Not physically, emotionally. In classrooms, meetings, group projects, and social gatherings, he always found a way to stay invisible. He sat in the back, avoided eye contact, checked his phone when conversations started, and whenever he wanted to say something, his mind stopped him. What if they laugh? What if I sound stupid? What if everyone judges me? So he stayed quiet. But that wasn't even the worst part. The worst part was that he knew he had something to say. Every night, Ethan would lie awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying conversations, replaying missed moments, replaying words he never said. Sometimes he would imagine different versions of his life, versions where he raised his hand, where he introduced himself, where he spoke with confidence. But imagination was easier than reality, and reality kept moving without him. One afternoon during college, a professor asked the class a difficult question. The room went silent. Ethan knew the answer immediately. He had spent hours studying it. His heart started pounding. This was his chance. Slowly, he lifted his hand. Then, he noticed another student preparing the answer. Fear arrived. His hand dropped. The other student spoke. The professor smiled. Excellent answer. The class nodded, and Ethan felt something painful twist inside his chest. Because those were his exact thoughts. His exact answer. His exact opportunity. Gone. But the real damage wasn't what people thought. The real damage was what he started believing about himself. Little by little, he began seeing himself as someone who couldn't speak. Someone who wasn't confident. Someone who would always stay behind. Fear became the author of his life. And he didn't even realize it. Months passed. The pattern repeated everywhere. In coffee shops. In group discussions. In networking events. In everyday conversations. Whenever opportunity appeared, fear spoke louder. And every avoided moment strengthened the fear. Then he lost an opportunity he could never get back. A local company visited campus looking for interns. Students gathered for interviews and presentations. Ethan had prepared for weeks. He knew the material. He had practiced every answer. This could have changed everything. Then his name was called. He stood, walked toward the front, looked at the audience, and froze. His mind went blank. The silence felt endless. A few nervous laughs echoed through the room. His face burned. His hands shook. And after a painful few seconds, he quietly returned to his seat. The opportunity went to someone else, someone less prepared, but someone willing to speak. That night, Ethan sat alone in his room. The city lights flickered through his window. His phone buzzed. Messages arrived. He ignored them. For hours he stared into the darkness. And that's when he finally admitted something to himself. The embarrassment lasted seconds. The regret lasted years. What happened next shocked him. For the first time, he stopped blaming his lack of confidence and started questioning his fear. Because the fear wasn't actually the problem. Running from it was. Every time he avoided discomfort, fear grew stronger. Every time he stayed silent, fear learned it was in control. Suddenly, something became clear. He wasn't trapped because he lacked confidence. He lacked confidence because he never practiced courage. That tiny realization changed everything. Not overnight, not dramatically, just enough. The next morning, he made a simple promise. One small, uncomfortable action, every day, nothing more. Day 1, he asked a stranger for directions. His voice shook, but he survived. Day 2, he answered a question in class. His heart raced, but he survived. Day 3, he started a conversation at a coffee shop. Awkward, uncomfortable, messy, but he survived. Then his worst nightmare happened. During a presentation, he stumbled over his words. He forgot part of his speech. His face turned red. Exactly the scenario he had feared for years. The room watched. The embarrassment arrived. And then, something unexpected happened afterward. Nothing. Nobody mocked him. Nobody cared as much as he imagined. The world kept moving. For years, he had treated embarrassment like a disaster. Now he saw it for what it really was. A moment. Just a moment. And moments pass. Weeks turned into months. The fear didn't disappear. It still appeared before conversations, before presentations, before new situations. But now something was different. Fear no longer made the decisions. Ethan did. Slowly, his world became larger. More conversations, more opportunities, more friendships, more experiences. Confidence wasn't magically found. It was built. one uncomfortable moment at a time. Then came a familiar situation. A room full of people. A question nobody wanted to answer. The same tension. The same racing heartbeat. The same fear. For a second, the old version of Ethan returned. The boy who stayed silent. The boy who waited. The boy who hid. Then he remembered something. Silence had never protected him. It had only limited him. So he raised his hand. His voice shook slightly. Not because he was fearless. Because he wasn't. But he spoke anyway. And in that moment, something changed. Not around him. Inside him. The victory wasn't perfection. The victory was action. The fear never completely disappeared, but it no longer controlled his life. Maybe this story isn't only about Ethan. Maybe you've stayed silent too. Maybe you've waited for confidence before taking action. Maybe you've been letting fear make decisions that belong to you. Because confidence isn't something you find, it's something you build. And it begins the moment you stop running. Have you ever missed an opportunity because fear held you back? Let us know in the comments. And if this story helped you, subscribe to Inner Rise Daily for more emotional transformation stories. Heal, grow, rise.